My new boss tried to push me out, but her arrogance and stupidity did the job for me. The day she got fired, I was drinking some beer in Palm Springs. It was my birthday, and karma showed up with a bow. I worked at one of the biggest uniform companies in the country, and I was one of the leaders of the entire operation. My general manager, let's call him Jay, was difficult and analytical. Code word, he had zero emotional intelligence, which made him seem like an asshole. But he was fair, and to me he was great. He stayed out of my way, and that was that. Then COVID hit. Turnover became constant. Senior leadership decided to make a change, so they asked Jay to step down. Enter the new general manager, a bubbly blonde who came from being a big shot at a major retail company. She was the poster child for everything Jay wasn't, all smiles and positive energy. But I learned a long time ago, when someone has a giant smile and an even bigger ego, I never trust them. Behind that peppy exterior, I sensed trouble. I did some digging through friends in her old company and found out she'd been fired. Quietly, all kept hush-hush. Red flag number one. On her first day, I tried to establish a relationship. I introduced myself as senior leadership at the location. She wanted nothing to do with me. From day one, she didn't like me for no apparent reason. Within months, all the male senior leaders on our team were reassigned. She called it a realignment. I called her GC. For reasons I'll let you figure out, GC was a piece of work. She showed blatant favoritism, removing experienced male leaders and replacing them with people from her old retail company who had zero idea how to run a uniform operation. She was building what she called a vibe. I called it a disaster. Eventually, she set her sights on me, called me into her office, and forced me to step down from my senior leadership position. When I asked why, she couldn't articulate a reason. No write-ups, no failures. My accounts were retained. My KPIs were through the roof. She just told me I could take a lower-level position or eventually be miserable. It was textbook bullying, but I had a newborn kid. I couldn't lose benefits or my job, so I took the demotion and pay cut. She thought the lower pay would make me quit, but I'm stubborn. I knew it was only a matter of time before karma caught up with her, and I helped karma along. Every time GC screwed up, I sent an anonymous letter to HR. Drinking on the job, hosting pool parties with employees in bikinis, using the company card for lavish lunches with her clique. Our location was hemorrhaging money. Managers were quitting left and right. Then came the final screw-up. We had a company event at a bar. GC got completely wasted, refused an Uber, and insisted on driving home drunk. The people she'd hired, the ones she thought had her back, didn't stop her. In my company, you never become a liability. GC had just become exactly that. She was suspended immediately. Corporate started digging. They found everything. The misuse of funds, the toxic culture, the financial losses. Multiple managers had quit under her watch. She wasn't just a bad hire, she was a cancer. It was my birthday when I found out she got fired. I was in Palm Springs enjoying a cold beer in the sun when I got the news. Best birthday present ever. The kicker? While she was trying to force me out, I excelled in my new role. I became recognized as the number one performer in my position across the entire company. Last I heard, GC was applying to work at a waste management company. I happened to know people there. I made a few calls. They didn't hire her? Fuck you, GC, wherever you are. Second story. After nearly 30 years, I met up with an old college friend, only to realize over breakfast that he'd turned into a full-blown sociopath. As he proudly told me how he'd taken revenge on a coworker in a twisted, disgusting way, I understood one thing. This would be the last time we ever spoke. I recently visited an old friend from college after more than 27 years had accumulated between us, like hurriedly stacked firewood or accumulated pocket lint. His malfunctioning moral compass, lack of empathy, and spiteful sense of humor had only fermented since we had attended college together. We sat across from each other at a Seattle diner on our way to SeaTac Airport, where my early morning departure would finally put an end to what had turned out to be a regrettable and interminable reunion. Over the coagulating ruins of colorless sausage gravy, underpoached egg, and a pus-hued paste of hollandaise, My old friend proceeded to relate to me with great detail and an infantile glee that grew as he recounted to me a most bizarre and disturbing example of his genius. This was the last conversation that we ever had or will ever have, as I have no desire to include a sociopath within my social circle. As we digested our lousy meal, mine largely untouched, and as my plane was likely then preparing to land upon its designated runway, I was left dismayed and speechless by this proud confession. He was working on a small ship and had a problem with another crew member because she was openly critical of his mindfulness and work safety, and had already written one complaint to the captain. As a means of ridding himself of this threat, he devised what he described as a brilliant plan to both avenge himself and remove her from the vessel before she could cause him any further trouble. His scheme involved afflicting her person with a debilitating yeast infection by way of a sinister campaign of repeated biological attacks upon her person over the course of several months. He regularly pilfered the cook's special sourdough starter from the ship's galley, and he began secretly spraying this mixture into both the washer and the dryer when she did her laundry, particularly her underthings. He actually believed that his master plan was a success when she later left due to an unrelated illness. I have not spoken to him since that painful reunion, and do not plan to in the future due to my own distrust of how he might resolve any personal social problem, regardless of whether it was something petty or a misunderstanding on his part. I also think that he might consider brushing up on his chemistry and biology before undertaking any future revenge schemes. Trust no one.